1776 to 1832. Phrenology was built on the idea that the distinct personality characteristics are located in specific areas of the brain, and bumps or dents on the skull reflected the strength or weakness of these brain areas. Gall used the skulls of prominent writers, scholars, and politicians, as well as criminals and people with cognitive problems to construct his model, because he thought specific traits and their cranial roadmaps would be more apparent in these individuals. His original maps had 27 different personality characteristics, including pride, cunning, wisdom, poetic talent, memory for people, memory for words, and sense of numbers. Spurzheim later added 8 more characteristics to the map. By feeling a person's skull, phrenologists believed they could deduce that person's character and personality. The reading could be used to help people improve themselves. Of course, not everyone was impressed with phrenology. Critics pointed out that injuries to the brain did not result in behavioral changes associated with the skull maps. Other scientists, such as French physiologist Jean-Pierre Flourens, 1794 to 1857, argued against the notion that the cerebral cortex had specific functions at all. Rather, he promoted the idea that all areas of the cerebral cortex functioned equally. Flourens was right about phrenology, but wrong about the cortex. The idea of phrenology seems strange to us now, and, indeed, it was eventually completely debunked by the scientific community. But it did promote the scientifically correct idea that different parts of the brain were specialized for different functions. Question: has a neuroscientist ever won a Nobel Prize? Answer: neuroscientists have received their share of Nobel Prizes in physiology or medicine. In fact, 60 neuroscientists have been awarded, individually or shared, a Nobel Prize since the first prize was given in 1901. The first neuroscientists to win were Camillo Golgi, 1843 to 1926, and Santiago Ramón y Cajal, 1852 to 1934. Although they were scientific rivals because of their differing opinions about how neurons formed connections, Golgi and Cajal shared the 1906 Nobel Prize in Physiology or Medicine for their work describing the structure of the nervous system, although they didn't share it graciously. Cajal's theory about a gap between neurons was eventually proven to be mostly correct. Later neuroscientists were recognized with Nobel Prizes for their studies about neurological disorders, hearing, vision, smell, neurochemistry, brain imaging, and neurotransmission. The 1949 prize given to Antonio Egas Moniz, 1874 to 1955, was very controversial because of its focus on the development of the lobotomy to treat mental illness. In retrospect, the award to Moniz seems like a poor choice, but the prize has not been retracted. The most recent neuroscientists to win the Nobel Prize are John O'Keefe, born 1939, Edvard I. Moser, born 1962, and May Britt Moser, born 1963, who won in 2014 for their work on the spatial navigation system in the brain. For a list of all neuroscientists who have won the Nobel Prize in Physiology or Medicine, please refer to the PDF file attached with this program. Question: how did scientists learn that nerve cells used chemical messages? Answer: some people, such as German scientist Émile Dubois-Reymond, 1818 to 1896, are ahead of their time. In the late 1800s, Dubois-Reymond proposed that nerve cells could communicate with muscles using chemicals. At the time, no one took notice of his theory. Researchers were still debating whether nerve cells made electrical or chemical connections. It was not until the early 1900s, when scientists started to test the effects of drugs on the autonomic nervous system, that Dubois-Reymond's ideas were confirmed. For example, English pharmacologist Henry Hallett Dale, 1875 to 1960.